The scorching sun hung over the African wilderness as a family from Johannesburg packed up their old off-road Jeep for a weekend trip into nature. It wasn't a luxury vacation, just a father, mother, and their 25-year-old daughter, Zuri, craving time away from city noise. Zuri, a wildlife enthusiast, had always dreamed of witnessing real animal behavior far from documentaries. Her parents were hesitant but eventually gave in, trusting their daughter's curiosity. The family arrived at the southern edge of Kruger National Park, parking near a ranger-approved camping site. The place was wild but supposedly safe, with breathtaking views of red earth and scattered acacia trees. That evening, while her parents set up camp, Zuri wandered a short distance with her camera, enchanted by the silence and colors of the savannah. A soft breeze carried the distant cries of birds. She knelt to photograph animal tracks in the dirt, so focused that she didn't realize she was alone, or how close danger actually was. Behind the peace of the moment, the wild was watching, waiting. Just beyond the tall grass where Zuri crouched, a giant African rock python slithered silently through the undergrowth. Measuring nearly 20 feet long and thick as a man's thigh, the snake had been basking under a rock before Zuri's movement caught its attention. Hungry and alert, it had not eaten in days. Its powerful muscles moved without a sound, belly brushing over the dirt, tongue flicking rapidly to track her scent. Zuri, still unaware, shifted slightly, trying to adjust her camera lens. A branch cracked beneath her foot. That tiny sound was all it took for the python to decide this was its chance. It slithered faster now, circling through the brush to approach from her blind side. It wasn't an aggressive creature by nature, but instinct and hunger had taken over. As Zuri stood up to head back to camp, she felt a sudden chill down her spine. Something was wrong. The birds had gone quiet. And before she could turn around fully, a heavy force struck her from behind, followed by a tightening grip around her legs. Zuri screamed, a sharp, panicked cry that echoed across the empty savannah. The python had wrapped its thick body around her legs and waist in a flash, slamming her to the ground. She struggled wildly, dirt filling her mouth as she clawed at the ground, trying to reach for anything. But the snake was too strong. Its coils tightened with terrifying pressure, forcing the air from her lungs. Her ribs ached. Her camera lay shattered beside her, and her radio was out of reach. Each second felt like a lifetime. Tears filled her eyes, not just from pain, but from the realization that no one knew where she was. Her heart pounded in her ears. "Please, someone help," she whispered hoarsely, barely able to breathe. The python hissed, muscles flexing, slowly crushing the life out of her. She thought of her family, of her little brother she promised to call tonight. Her hands trembled, bruises blooming on her skin. In the middle of nowhere, wrapped in a nightmare, Zuri was beginning to lose hope. But something was watching nearby. Just when it felt like the world had abandoned her, a thunderous roar erupted from the bushes. It was deep, fierce, and full of primal power. Zuri, barely conscious, heard it through the haze of pain and fear. The ground seemed to tremble. From behind a curtain of tall grass emerged an old lion, its golden mane dusted with age, its eyes sharp with fire. The python hissed, tightening its grip in response, sensing danger. But the lion didn't stop. It stepped closer with a calm yet terrifying authority, every muscle rippling beneath its scarred body. This was not a random encounter. It was as if the lion had come for her. For a moment, predator faced predator, the snake, defensive and coiled, the lion, steady and unshaken. Then came the second roar, louder, angrier. The python recoiled slightly. Zuri blinked, barely able to process the scene. The lion, without hesitation, lunged toward the serpent. And in that moment, the battle for Zuri's life truly began. With a deafening snarl, the old lion charged, slamming into the python with bone-shaking force. Dust flew, grass bent under the weight of two apex predators colliding. The python reacted instantly, uncoiling from Zuri's fragile body and redirecting its fury toward the lion. It lunged, sinking its fangs into the lion's foreleg, but the lion didn't flinch. Instead, he bit down hard on the snake's thick neck, his jaws pressing deeper with every heartbeat. Blood spilled, raw, real, and terrifying. Zuri lay gasping nearby, her vision blurred but her ears catching every growl, hiss, and snap of bone. The lion's claws slashed through coils of muscle as the python tried to strangle its new foe. This wasn't just a fight for dominance, it was survival. The lion, weakened by age, fought like a warrior remembering his prime. With a final desperate roar, he launched upward and tore the python's flesh apart. The snake recoiled, writhing violently before fleeing into the undergrowth. The lion stumbled, but he had won. And Zuri, still breathing, was saved, for now. As the giant snake vanished into the thick grass, the savannah fell silent, eerily so. The lion stood trembling, his body bloodied and breathing shallow. For a moment, he looked at Zuri, then his legs buckled beneath him. He collapsed beside her, eyes fluttering, chest rising faintly. This mighty protector had given everything, his strength, his courage, even the last remnants of his aging body, to save a girl he didn't even know. And now, he was fading. Zuri, though bruised and barely conscious, crawled toward the lion with tears streaming down her dirt-covered face. Her trembling hand reached out, gently resting on his mane. "Don't die, please," she whispered, her voice cracked with emotion. The lion blinked slowly, as if recognizing her plea, but his strength was nearly gone. His breathing slowed. Dust settled. Hope hung by a thread in the still air. But far off, very far off, came the faint rumble of an engine. Tires crushing gravel. A ranger's jeep. Help was coming. But would it be too late for the lion who gave his all? The sound grew louder, closer. A dusty ranger jeep skidded to a halt near the open field where silence had swallowed everything. Rangers Elias and Jonah jumped out, their boots hitting the ground in urgency. Their eyes immediately fell on the heartbreaking scene. A motionless lion, his body shielding a barely conscious girl, both surrounded by disturbed earth and broken branches. Jonah rushed to Zuri, carefully lifting her head. "She's alive. Weak, but alive," he shouted. Elias knelt by the lion, placing a trembling hand over its chest. There was still a heartbeat, faint but steady. "This lion, he protected her," he whispered in disbelief. They both had seen countless wild encounters, but nothing like this. Working quickly, they administered a mild stimulant to the lion and gave Zuri water, stabilizing her condition. Zuri opened her eyes, whispering, "He saved me." The lion stirred slightly. A breath. A blink. Hope ignited again. And at that moment, both rangers knew they had arrived just in time. The lion lay still, his breath shallow, eyes fluttering between consciousness and darkness. His body bore deep wounds, torn flesh from the snake's crushing coils, scratches from branches, and bruises from the battle he'd willingly faced. Yet he didn't roar. He didn't cry. His eyes remained fixed on Zuri, as if reassuring her that she was safe now. Ranger Elias injected another stimulant, his hands shaking. "Come on, big guy. You've come too far to give up now," he murmured. Jonah gently placed a wet cloth over the lion's forehead, a gesture born out of pure respect. Zuri, her voice barely a whisper, reached her hand toward the lion's paw, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Please don't leave me." Without waiting for praise, the lion turned slowly, step by step, walking back toward the jungle from where he had come. His wounded leg dragged slightly, his mane swaying with the breeze, majestic, even in pain. Zuri called out softly, "Wait!" But he didn't stop. The forest seemed to swallow him like a hero returning to his realm. No roar, no farewell. Just silence. A heavy stillness hung in the air. Even the rangers were speechless. The wild had given her a protector, and now, like a ghost of bravery, he was gone. The forest fell quiet again, but inside Zuri, a storm of emotions raged. She had come so close to death, only to be saved by the most unexpected protector, a wild lion. The memory of his golden eyes, his roar of defiance, and the way he disappeared into the trees burned in her soul.